Hello, this is the second tutorial video that I am making geared towards existing programmers of other languages for learning the programming language Insitux. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I would recommend it. It does go over the basics just a little bit. But essentially Insitux, just as a very quick lowdown, is a scripting language with this sort of syntax. It works in the browser, it works on Node.js, it even works in Roblox, and yeah, I enjoy it. I made it. It has lots of features. It does have quite a few anti-features, but it's still quite fun. It has quite an active community, and today we're going to be looking at how to get your own code on the Insitux Discord bot. So there is a bot, let's find it, there we go, Insitux, which typically can run code in a Discord server. So let's have a look here, 2 + 2, it replies with 4, thank goodness that works. But we can actually add our own prefixes to this bot as well. So for example, I've made one called fgame, which is a formula game where you've got to try and guess the formula. So fgame is the prefix, and then you can send it different commands. We can very quickly look at the code for that, for example, on the insitux.rapl.co website. So here we go, fgame, have a look at that. So that is the source code that is behind fgame, and you've got to try and guess the formula. But for now, I'm just going to reveal the answer. And there we go, the formula was the remainder of 1x, whatever the number was. It's not really important. But it's not just limited to Discord bots. You can also create web apps with this platform. So for example, Mboard is a message board which not only uses Insitux in the back end, but also uses it in the front end as well, with a reactive framework or reactive library also written in Insitux, which is really cool. But today what we're going to make is a Discord bot, and it's just going to be very, very simple. The one I have in mind is you send it a message, and just very simply it'll tell you whether you're cool or not. It's the simplest thing I could think of. So to get started, I would recommend something like Visual Studio Code, especially because there is an Insitux syntax extension. As you can imagine, it just provides syntax highlighting for Insitux. I haven't gone ahead and made a whole language server to give extra features, because that's quite involved. But you can get the Insitux syntax extension and then, of course, get your highlighting. So if we want to make a bot or a website for, I've got too many tabs open now. If you want to make a bot or a website for insitux.rapl.co or Insitux, we're first going to start with this sort of template. Now, because this is geared towards existing programmers, I'm not going to explain how a function works, but I will tell you that this is how you begin declaring a function. That's its name, and these are the parameters of the function. So it starts with the name, and then you have any parameters. In this case, there are many parameters for this function because it handles both websites and Discord. So for example, for a Discord message, we're going to have the content of the message. We're going to have who sent it as a Discord user. We're going to have where, which will be the server. The channel is the channel. The source should be Discord, I believe. And what I had in my clipboard was args. Args is just a vector of whatever is given to the function as arguments. To get the actual syntax highlighting up, we'll have to change the language mode to Insitux. There we go. Get a little bit of nice highlighting here. And let's get started. So the input that we're going to get doesn't really matter, but the way that people are going to use this is going to be like, for example, am I cool? They're going to use that in the chat. They can send whatever they like as a message. We're just going to ignore that. We might include it. It's just a tutorial, right? But just for now, we're going to focus on the who, and we're going to try and get the bot to either respond with you are cool or you are not cool. Or in fact, you are lame. Right? Let's get really polarized. And a very simple way to do this, at least the simplest way that I can think of, is just to look at the first character of their user tag and get the ASCII value for that and see whether it's odd or even. That's all we're going to do. So if ever you try and approach a program like this in Insitux and you don't know where to start, there are a number of avenues to go down. So one that I typically use is I either open up the website. Actually, I go onto the website here, insitux.github.io, and I have a look at the examples and I try and remember, have I done anything similar before? If I can't remember exactly what functions are available, I'll go to the GitHub where all the documentation for every single operation inside of Insitux is found. So in this case, I want to get the first character of a string. Okay, I'm past the string who, and I need to get the first character of it. To do this, we use, oh dear, this AI is going to give me lots of, wait, hang on, let's have a look at that. Let's see, let Nick cut. Okay, so this thinks that it's a Lisp. That is amazing. So what's it saying? Let Nick be, I can't remember what CADA means, split string source by exclamation marks. If the string equals who, Nick, send message or call you a lame. It is amazing that AI is doing that, but we don't want AI right now, so I'm going to disable it right now. Thank you very much. To get the first character, we're going to use 0 as an operation with who as the argument. So this is how we do that in Insitux to get the index of either a string or a vector. So here I've got the REPL up, so I could say 0 of, and I'll say 1 of hello, for example, and that'll give me E. Or I could do 1 of a range from 10 to 14, just anything random like that. It gives me 11. As you can imagine, you could define your own, like A, B, C, for example. There you go, it gives me B. So in this case, I want to get the first character of who, so it'll give me, for me, for example, it'll be a capital A. Also, if there isn't that index available, so if I ask for index 1000 of something that clearly doesn't have 1000 things in it, it will just give me null. That's not going to be a problem in this case because all Discord tags have a length, right? So that's not going to be a problem. So we've managed to get the first character of their Discord tag. Great. Now I want to get the ASCII value for that. So there are, like I was saying earlier, there are a number of avenues to go down if you're looking for things to do or how to achieve certain things. So the very quick one that I employ is by running symbols or executing the symbols command or operation and then joining it together with just a string like that. So I'm looking for something that can give me the character code. So I would just scroll through here perhaps and I'd be like, is there anything in here that does character code? And if I can't find it quick enough, then I'll probably go into here and I'll say char, implement char code. That sounds good. Returns character. And you just control F. For now, I don't have the best documentation, unfortunately. I am trying to improve it. So here we go, char code returns the code associated with a string's first or nth character. Cool. So I just use char code, and we'll try that in the REPL down here. So let me make that bigger as well. Oh dear, it's very big. I should have made it bigger earlier, actually. So char code hello, for example. It tells me that it's 104 for the lowercase h. Brilliant. If I was to put anything in there, like my Discord tag, for example, the first character is 65. Now I've realised that you don't need to get the first character like this. You could just use char code and it will just get the first character for you, tell you 65. So there you go. That's one way of solving it. Now there's another. So char code of who. Now I need to check whether it is odd or even. So how do you do that? By using odd or using even, amazingly. So these are already added to the language to be very helpful. Odd, even, and then I'm going to be very sneaky here, so let's see. Mine is 65, which is odd, so I'm going to say that people with an odd tag are cool. So let's do that. Odd, char code, and then, well, it'd be who, wouldn't it? But for now, we'll put my thing here. So true, I'm cool. Excellent. So char code, and we do this here. So we'd pass that to odd. And now we've turned who into a number, and then we've turned that number into a true or false. We need to turn that into, right, we need to put that into an if statement. So if it is odd, then we're going to return, I thought I disabled the AI, but that's fine. That's fine. You are cool, you are lame. Fantastic. Now, we can make this code a bit shorter, funnily enough. Not funnily enough, surprisingly. Booleans can be used as operations directly. So you'll notice that we have open parentheses here, and then we immediately have another open parentheses, which means there is an expression at the head of this expression. So it's going to be the operation, right? So, for example, here's another one. If I was to say if true, odd, else it would be even. Because I've put true in there, means it will be odd. So when I put 5 in there, it'll give me true. If I was to put 6, it gives me false. Whereas if I change that, then of course it's going to select for even instead, and then it would start returning me true, etc. So I don't need the if here, but I would if it was anything else, like if it was returning a number. Anything that is not false or null is truthy. So for example, I could do if 1, 2, 3 hi, and that's going to tell me hi. Whereas if I was to put null, it tells me null, funnily enough, or I could say bye, right? It gives me bye. So yeah, this is probably the smallest we could make this code, but you could make it more readable. So the way that I showed in the previous tutorial of making these sorts of pipelines of data is quite a nice way of coding. So what I do is I start with who, and then I run char code, and then I run odd. So that gives me, that sort of takes who, puts it through char code, and then whatever the answer is goes to odd, and then this whole thing becomes whatever came out of odd. And I can use that instead. So in fact, it's one character longer, but for some people I can imagine it might be more readable because there are fewer parentheses. And actually, it can end up having fewer parentheses than things like Python because you can chain these things through. So if people are looking at the parentheses going, oh my gosh, there's so many parentheses, you can have fewer, right? So what time has this been already? 12 minutes, cool. So what you need to do once you've got your bot ready is you do have to approach me on the Discord server to get the code added. If we go to here, right, so currently deployed apps, these are the people's apps that are already running. So this one is owned by Black Sheba. This Minesweeper one is owned by somebody else in the Discord server. But you will have to come to me and go, hey, can you add my code, please? And the way that I recommend that you do that is by using GitHub gists. There we go. So if I go to here, and I'd already created one here on my Insitux account, so it's gist.github.com, and I'm going to delete this one actually for the reason that they're quite slow to update. So I'll show you how they work. I create a new gist. I shall copy paste my code into it and say I call.ix. It's not going to recognize ix, but whatever. I create a public gist. And now the benefit of gists is that they're really small, right? When you're deploying apps to Insitux, it's just going to load one URL with your code in it. So we can go to raw here, and it gives you this URL. But if you give me this URL to deploy, it's never going to change. You're never going to be able to update it. So you can edit it and you'll get revisions and all that sort of neat stuff. But you will have to delete the last 2 bits of this URL to get something that updates when you edit it. Though it does take a few minutes to apply. So that's why I've recreated it here. And I'm actually going to copy it into the bot manually right now just to make sure that it loads really, really quickly. Okay, fingers crossed now. If I go to, where is it? If I go to this new temporary channel and have a go. So now I should be able to go, am I cool? You are cool. Fantastic. Now I won't be able to check whether that works for other people or not, but as you can imagine, it probably will. So yeah, this has been a very simple example, mainly just for using Insitux and getting your apps deployed. But you can see how easy it is, right? Unfortunately, it is quite limited because it's only ever going to reply in this format. It's only ever going to reply when you immediately invoke it. But it does mean that, I'm paying for the hosting. Essentially, it's always going to be on, at least until my money runs out or I get bored, etc. But just for this lovely time, you can have your app deployed in this interesting programming language, and you can do multiple things in it. So let's see. I could copy the Mandelbrot code, for example. Let's go with Mandelbrot. Where is it? Oh yeah, that's the neural network that I've never actually used. That's for HTML translation. Here, Mandelbrot. So if I wanted to do a Mandelbrot fractal in my bot, I would plagiarize the Mandelbrot code. Mandelbrot. I hope I'm saying it correctly anyway. I'm just going to ignore the input. You don't even need to write all of these. You just need a function called handler. And wow, it's again trying to suggest me things. I didn't turn it off properly earlier, did I? But yeah, if I was to copy this code, I can go into... Got too many tabs. Where is it? It's in private browsing, isn't it? Okay. So if I was to create a new just Mandelbrot IX, is it Mandel or Mandel? Mandelbrot, I think. Mandel. Excuse me. And then I'll just create a secret gist. It doesn't really matter. Again, go to raw, delete the name. I don't even think, and delete the, I think it's literally just the commit ID. You'd give me that URL and I go put it in the bot. So I'll add it to the bot very quickly. What's it called? I'll call it Mandelbrot for illustrative purposes. Mandelbrot, and I put the URL in there. Please type quicker, come on. Okay, I restart the bot, of course. Oh yeah, another interesting thing about these bots is that it does have states that can be remembered. So any variables that you create, so for example, if I was to say var a123, that will actually persist between invocations. So some other apps that we have here that I'm getting totally lost. How do people make actual proper videos? Is this one that just does HTTP request viewing. It just tracks it over time. So I can go to the web page and it just tells me, it just dumps all those arguments onto the page when, what was in the message, what was it, HTTP, get, etc. So this is remembered over time. I can refresh this, and of course it's remembering these. So you can make quite good websites on here, much better than Discord bots, I think, because websites are a lot more stateless and immediate, aren't they? And you can send anything on here theoretically. You can certainly take any post or get requests. You can only return strings back, but yeah, that's for another time. So Mandelbrot. Now this isn't going to show all of the Mandelbrot fractal, unfortunately, because there is also a limit, because I can't have people spamming up these places, because I've managed to get the Discord bot into multiple servers. But you got some space to be creative, right? So I'm very interested to see if anybody approaches me with some code to put into the bots. And yeah, this is just the second video that you're going to get about this. Thanks for watching.